Order submitted.
Ooh.
Order canceled.
Got clapped again. Starlink is right. I do think that some trade's going to come in here soon. Kind of looking at this. This is lethargic, which is great. Sorry about that, lads. I'm really liking this a lot. This sort of lethargic movement that's pulling back. All right, so if we look at it, we're looking at sort of like this, that there. Starlink, I know, get the chat going. Right, so probably my last trade of the day. But looking to take that and then up into the 200s. We're gonna wait for 1050 or 1030, sorry. Be really annoying if it just went without sweeping the 15 and the 5. $15 seconds. ES trading sideways, good. 10 seconds. Do we run everything out or do we just get our smiley and go? That would be really nasty if we did. But I liked how the midpoint's a little bit lower as well. So hoping that we run these out and then finish the objective and then go as well. We might just run from here. Looks like we're going to. Looks like we're going
Order
to.
submitted.
This is why I use market orders typically. Obviously, not working out right now.
Order canceled.
Oh my goodness. Any sort of stab back down, ideally into the low 80s. Otherwise, I think we just run this into the 200s and away we go. Couldn't run it out, eh? Just opened and drove. Okay. Okay, and then maybe something up here. Taking a higher, another high. We've got a structural zone. Cool. Ideally, we want a closure. I'd be shocked if there wasn't one. Now this has got to close above there to actually validate this as a structural zone, but I think given the 15-minute movement, we can sufficiently say that it's going to. We still got this area above and our higher time frame area of interest, right? This low. Right, so it's looking for a swing off of that. Haven't got it, obviously. At least not yet. Stall candle here I'll probably hit, and that'll be my final trade of the day if it does not work out. If it does, then we'll keep playing.
Order submitted.
We've got to drive through 200s. This is going to be a quick trip. I don't want another sweep and fail of this 15-minute high. Right, this is based entirely on the inability really to send us lower from this, even though we've swept this high and we were trading sideways. I'm still looking at not quite being done. I think we do need a closure above this, which would then send us back down, and that would facilitate our movement up to 200. Or 220 rather, sorry. Okay, so decent bullish candle. We need follow through. We've got to actually start pushing through and closing above here, or else this position's in a lot of danger. We're looking at that stall candle being momentum, not wanting to trade this sideways. Fine if they're selling in here, right? But I don't want failure. Push.
Order canceled.
Wow. Okay, well that'll do. No, it glitched or something and it knocked me off stream. It glitched or something and knocked me off stream. I did take a long stab in here as well, but thought that we were going to get lower. Right? So stall candle, personalities, right? You expect this, we get this. Lift. In reality, this is probably still going to 220. Right? So made back some of earlier nonsense. Here we go. And annoyingly enough, the entire time this was moving up, that was the initial trade. So very annoying. Very, very annoying. Did that actually close? It did close above. I thought that had swept. That didn't update afterwards, did it? I've been noticing that a few times on TradingView where it'll update candles afterwards. This CSD then trades back in, right? This is actually a decent, yes, I was looking for this candle, I think, but that's your flip. And then essentially this candle would have been a valid trade idea. Right? I actually expected this to trade down to this fractal, which is also the midpoint of the energy of the move. Right? So I was really, really lining up a 55 long or something in the low 50s, like 53. Here's your 220 hit. Right? So even in this, I probably could have held for a little bit longer. Right? But I have to play defense because I took a couple of losses. It showed right away. Did it really? I just need to zoom in a little bit better. That's a big miss. That's actually really poor on my end if it did show right away. Right? Well, not really poor, just that's a missed trade idea. Okay, so stabbing into our fractal that sent us down. This is your like mini SNDR that breaks your higher time frame zone. We've now got a confirmed zone as well down here. ES following suit too, which we like to see. So when we see this sideways price action, 1030, ideally we get that 15-minute sweep and we go. Instead, it just drove. And I'm sitting here hoping that they have a little lower time frame pullback when it's trading up in the 80s or 79s, and you set your order there. Usually it will grab it and then go. Sometimes it will not. Obviously, I could have marketed in at 80 and just threw all that, but yeah. Yeah. Had I actually been at the desk that short and then that long, I kind of flubbed that long, but those first two trade ideas I think would have been great. And we'll see what goes on here. Again, way too cute looking for that short. I think if there's one thing I would change about today, I can understand this. That's more of a swing trade, I suppose, and given the context, we just failed to CSD here, so I took that position off. I think if I had to change one thing, it would have been probably avoiding that short in there based off what the 15 looked like. I think that was way too cute looking for this pullback back down, so something like this. But this is exactly the price action that I want for the blast. That's exactly it. So let's check in on our higher time frames. Hourly flip, yes. We're now trading back into the area where that hourly flip occurred. So 37 to 22. Sorry, 23. All right, that's your area where you're expecting at least a little bit of resistance. Yeah, pretty much everything is flipped now. Now, this is the danger, right? Inside of strong bullish movements. Now, we're seeing many attempts of this trend to reverse, like 1, 2, I consider this the same 1, 3, 4. This is now your fifth, which finally succeeds. Now this flip just traded back into this prior zone. I don't think it's gone down as far as it should. Right? Ideally, this trades back into, excuse me, like, or inside of the midpoint of this. Okay, so it's now mitigated. If you're looking at structural, we obviously haven't done that, and you've got this SNDR here, which didn't get quite tapped into. We will still expect, depending on what ends up happening here. So if you draw your line, you get your AM high. If we close above 229, then we're inside the upper portion of our morning range. In which case, if we close up here, it's a high likelihood that the AM low will hold for the day and we end up running this high. There's a decent chance that we end up running both, right? But essentially, we're going to fight over whereabouts we're going to close in the next hour and 20 minutes. Whichever way we do close, there might be a nice afternoon trade as well. Good morning, Wafa. What's the next video you guys want to see me put out? Those of you guys that asked for Tilt and FOMO, what's your next biggest? Just while we have a few people here. This will probably be a question I'll ask tomorrow as well. Trading bot setup. Yeah, we're building that with ChatGPT right now. We're building that. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about gold recently. She's been flying, hasn't she? Pretty much just buy and forget it, isn't it? Look at that. You might get a trade back down to 32 or wait for that long, which would probably be better. Yuck. How do people trade this shit? It's not that it's not working out structurally, but... right? Like, there's your morning range. Okay. But, ooh. Just for fun. Hey! Now that's wild. Is there anything? Not really. Maybe an SNDR. No, I don't like any of that nonsense. Invest, yeah. Mind you, I guess you look at the NQ chart and you're like, well, is that really nice? You know? What's wild, if you guys are ever trading stuff that's wild, natural gas can get wild. Natural gas gets wild. Like, these days, that's just like, bang, gone. Right? Just wild stuff. I've actually never traded it myself, but I've watched it a few times. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. All right. Back to the show. What do we got going on here? What do we got going on here? Have I traded YM? Yeah, I've traded YM before. YM it's called the old man index for a reason, right? It's very level to level. Very, very level to level trading. And those that typically trade YM will trade based off of level to level type price action, where you've got these specific areas and you're expecting reactions from them. I don't. It's kind of a nice little mid range between NQ's volatility and the slow, technical, methodical movements of ES. Yeah, NJ knows what I'm talking about. I forgot. I thought they had a nickname for it, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, usually the moves come almost out of nowhere sometimes, and people are throwing their weight around. Who knows? Who knows with it? But it's a very good counter argument to the algorithmic theory of the markets. JP Morgan just decides to short it, and all of a sudden the thing dumps. Silver is very similar, I think, too. Nothing doing in here. You see we're inside of like a 10 to 12 point range. Why is that? How do you start forecasting that? Well, you're forecasting that because we're battling over whether we're going to expand to the upside or we're going to continue the downside. So there's a juxtaposition. You've got major pressure. You've got one magnet pulling it down this way, people selling, and you got people fighting over closing it up here. We don't know who's going to win, but we know there's going to be a battle. Our job is to predict once they made that decision on who's going to win. That away we go. That away we go. But I likely will be avoiding taking any sort of trades in here. Violet, you've got this area of interest, remember? Our structural low is here. In fact, I think, yeah, that actually did flip now that we're looking at it. Well, no, it didn't. That's not a protected low. What am I talking about? Tripping. So this very well could be a firefly and then send us back up, and then we determine what's going to go on. These 15 sweeps are nasty. We didn't get any on the bullish side, which means they very well could be stacking liquidity to run it out. Your 5's looking interesting. Again, sort of lethargic movement back up. Yeah, you guys think we should be building on some of our older content? Would I say it's a good buy zone right now? I'm more of the opinion that I want to know what this direction is. I understand people trading into like this 15-minute, right? We've traded into this 15-minute candle. We're seeing a little bit of a lift, right? This very well could end up being like a firefly move, right? Like we've taken the liquidity here of this non-structural zone. I wouldn't be surprised if I want to wait for the next hour. Let's put it that way. I want to wait for the next hour. And the reason is because I want to know, I think the next trade, given that I'm still slightly red now after that win, is that I want to know which side they're gonna keep it on. So if we get this movement down and then that movement comes up, or this movement down here and then we spike up and we're holding it here, in other words, we're not just immediately rejecting, then I've got a very, very high quality idea where I'm looking for some sort of failure or whatnot as price will continue on to run this AM high out. Now, the thing is that ES already did it. ES already did it. Right? Like look at the SMT here where NQ was weak and ES ran that high, which is why this was such a good short in the morning. And I'm pissed that I missed it. But I would not be red today. I probably would have let this trade go with 20 to 20 and then let it go. Whatever. But the fact that ES already did it means that I'm sort of leaning on this movement staying inside of here, which means that we're going to be looking for some sort of failure to then run the AM lows out in the afternoon. Right? So I think that they're kind of scaling in which case I don't really like circling back. You have to look at what's the market's attempting to do on a larger scale, and then with that lens, only with that lens, right? So an easy one is what the 15 minutes trying to do. What's the 15 minute doing? Sweeping, displacement away, okay, right? We're expecting the market wants to trade lower. We don't really know if it's going to get held up here or here, but I'm waiting to see based off of a macro scale. I'm not really looking at areas to buy. I'm looking at potential areas to get short. Do you use the Dome 2? Is it the one that comes free with normal vowels? Yes. Yes. I mean, I used to trade based off of icebergs and different order flow techniques where you're looking at sort of exhaustion with moves and whatnot. But I only use the Dome now for velocity. And I think that's important. Right? If you're trading up here and you see an increase in activity on your Dome, and this is kind of an eyeball thing, right? Where it's kind of and then you kind of got this movement up, and then all of a sudden you see this like it trades back into here, and then the Dome speeds up like twice as fast. That's when I start looking, okay, you know, we're expecting a reversal. This is danger zone here. That's pretty much all I use the Dome for. And executing, obviously. I actually can't believe that I'm red right now. Right? We call the low of day. Right? This lethargic movement to continue higher. We wanted 223. We've got that, and this seems to be like the pseudo top, at least of the until 11 a.m. Right? Like we're watching this in here, expecting it to just be violently trading lower. Didn't hit any of this. It's not good, Jim. It's not good. That and a stream that drove off in the morning. Look at this. If you did buy that slick, looks like you're looking pretty, but for the reasons I mentioned before, I like that it's in the zone, but I don't have high conviction in either direction right now. We've already traded to our area of interest. Right? Like, yeah, this might provide a movement away. I think that this is not the movement away you're expecting. But, yeah. Yep. Seeing the tape speed up and explaining it on a chill video like you used to do for hours. Yeah, we might do something with Jigsaw or something. I used to use that. I used to do one tick drills. Now, don't do that on NQ because you're just gambling. Right? but on ES you can. But again, like that sort of stuff. Yeah, we wouldn't do any drills like that, but we might do a fun little video where you're kind of looking at tape speeding up. You'd have to do it live, I suppose, because replay doesn't really have that sort of ability, does it? If we're still in a range, then we'll just consolidate here. Be really interesting to see if they're still selling the hell out of this area in the 30s. $228, $228.25. We actually ran it out. Good. You got a new hour opening in about 2 minutes. So if you guys are still hanging out, then you got that. But I'm going to be very, very choosy about my next trade. Nothing that I'm looking at that's sort of sea level. Pun intended. We'll see. Double pun intended. All right. Bullish trend, lethargic, yes. We'll see what happens with the next hourly open. Liking a potential short thesis coming out of this. Right? The 10 a.m. open drove lower. Obviously the 9 a.m. or at least 9:30 drove lower. Wherever our 9 a.m. candle is probably didn't have tons. That actually drove a little bit higher. But the powers that be seem to be a little bit bearish. I think it's that low there that put in this high. So if this one snaps, then you got a potential short coming in. You got 40 seconds. What do we get? What do we got? Five, four, fireworks, up or down? Run it up first and then drop it? Or are we just going to dump? Again, I am leaning to the short side, so I'm expecting it to be some sort of nonsense, and then down we go. But we'll see. Until proven otherwise. Right? But we are in bullish momentum. $230 even. That'd be surprising if that was the high, but we'll see. Can't even justify a short with order flow or anything right now, even though it's in our area. Like the location, but needs something. Morgan Stanley leaning towards 7,200 S&P. Okay. Tell me there's a crash coming without telling me there's a crash coming. I don't even want to long scalp this. It's starting to look a little bit sus from the bullish side, so careful. Could be in for a dump here. Man, oh man, price action like this, you understand why the marble races are looked at. Do we continue with an hourly pullback? We didn't sweep anything higher. Not really wild about these double tops, right? 230, 230. Although I very well could run these out. All right, ES didn't take it either, so not good enough for me to trigger myself in. But certainly liking the bearish delivery so far. I like that we swept this out. Yes, there's a double top in that, right? So if you're looking at this, you got that. There's two equal 15-minute highs as well, so I'll be shocked if those didn't get taken. Which is annoying because my thesis is that we're going to have a noon curve short to then run these lows out. Are they going to leave them on both? No, that would be crazy, wouldn't it? 37.5, 37.5, 37.5, 37.75? No, no way. No way. And we're starting to slow down as well. That's less than 6 points, that candle. Similar to yesterday, things slowing down. The only reason I'm still at my desk is because I flubbed the morning and haven't made my bag yet. Problem with scalping back a red morning is that you need to have very, very clear direction. So when direction is clear, and you could argue that we're in a bullish move, so we should just be looking at longs, but it's not that clear. We're actually tapping into the midpoint of this move, right? So the objective very well could be done. We have no clear direction since trading away from it. In fact, I think that those highs go, but I'm not positioning myself for that right now. We just flipped. And not wild about a 13-point range taking anything inside of the midpoint of it. I'd have to fade one way or the other, and this movement down didn't really trade into anything. Sure, you could look at the imbalance. We got bear bars on either side. Very, very picky and choosy about my imbalances, both with bias and direction. I rarely trade from them. When they work, it's all you hear about. Oh, it was the 4-second fair value gap that held out this hourly move, and you're like, go away. Oh, yes, can you do it? Can you do it? ES. ES pushing it. All right. This is slow, lads. This is slow. Man, oh man. They work if you convince yourself they work. Hey, Dennis. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like pretty much everything. Right? Like pretty much everything. If you're looking at, say, this one, and you're like, hey, strong bearish movement, first fair value gap. Okay. Right? And you look at it and you're like, you know what? This had a decent move, but now I got a fair value gap there that I respect. Like, people will do all sorts of stuff. Like, this is actually the midpoint of this as well, isn't it? So you got the middle of this 15-minute fair value gap. Many people are looking at the midpoint of that. Is it circumstantial that the midpoint of the 15-minute aligns with our higher time frame area of interest? Probably not. Probably there's some sort of mathematical reason for that. Let's make this slightly. Should I switch to black? Like dark theme? Should we go with the dark theme? Get off of the white? What do you guys think? Mixed up a little bit? I like the black and the gold bars. I love gold bars, Bo. It is dark already. Just watch this unwind. We'll see. Ooh. You know what? I'll play around with that afterwards. Have a look at some other ones. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. So ES took, NQ did not. NQ did not. Again, inside of like a 18, 20 point range. Not exactly ideal. New hourly open. Well, you're seeing what's going on here. We still have a double top 230s on both hourly highs. Shocking if that ends up being left, but that will be an extremely tasty idea for later. I think the ES is trading into the SNDR, which sent us up. We've actually swept and failed. This actually looks like it might run them out. If we get a trade back down to the 20s, I think I'll consider hitting this. Oh, maybe we'll pause on that. Hold on. Hold the phone. We're going to leave it for later. These equal highs now at 25. What is going on? Any trade I take right now will be purely based off of directional bias. You're kind of looking at this, this, and then this, and you want it to get ran, but if you hit it here, I mean, you have no signal whatsoever other than just I want to be long, right? We very well could trade into this fractal in the low 200s. And if you expect the range to continue, which is a valid assumption, then you expect anything from down here to at least trade back into like 210, 215. So if we get a sweep underneath this 206, then I think that's fair to look for a small stab back in. There's 205. Didn't hit that, but I think that would have been fairly valid. Did that actually tap into that? Yeah, it did too. Son of a bitch. ES dropping as well. There's that order flow speeding up, right? So possibly pushing through anybody who's buying here, expecting the range to continue. So that's a major cautionary flag for me. That doesn't mean that like buying here is necessarily a bad idea, but I don't like seeing them trying to blast through areas of interest and levels. I think that this idea was very, very strong, but we'll see here. I think ES runs this low too at 32s, where we got like sort of like a double bottom here. So it could be overanalyzing, could be second guessing. There could very well be a 10-point move that comes out of this into 215. I'm just not liking the double bottoms, double tops, all this sort of stuff going on. I think they're engineering a lot of liquidity, and I don't want to get ran out. And I don't like how fast this is going. That means that something's probably going to come and change here really quick. Not high enough conviction that I'm shorting it by any means. But that's the expectation. Right, so this is coinciding with the 15-minute. All this movement is coinciding with the 15-minute time frame. So we're looking at the 15-minute chart, right? You've got a major low there, you got a major low here. We'll see. If we run this out and we see a major flip or something, then we can take a long, targeting those highs. We've got 45 minutes. 45 minutes until we've put in the noon curve idea. So might actually have to start just taking small 10-point moves. Scalping this. While we wait for a swing trade idea to happen, which would be like 40 minutes away. That's good, really good sweep and fail, at least so far. Again, failure would have to at least trade and close above this, and then you've got the movement back down. Aggressive trading, you're looking quite happy. You might actually get your 10 points out of that. But you see why we're looking at the 15-minute low rather than 5s, rather than, say, something like this, etc. Yeah, I should have been in on that, I think. So lethargic movement down, 1 and then 2, and might even get a third one here, who knows. I think if it fails to flip the CST, that's when you would expect that. This right now looks like it's going to run these 30s out. But not positioned for it, obviously. Yeah, I should have hit that very aggressively. Trading right up into our area of interest. Profit taking because people expect that we're still in a range, which we are. That's a violent push away, mind you. Right back into our area of interest, this order block. We'll see whereabouts this closes in 7 seconds. Man, that's a strong rejection.
Order submitted.
They're going to hit this long here if it trades back down and takes me in. And again, trading with the idea of running this low resistance liquidity. We've just flipped at the 15-minute. Pretty much anything other than a strong push down, I think we're good. Obviously, want a little bit more follow through on the bullish side than what this was. This will be gross if they just drop it, but we'll see. This should be good for at least 10 points to get me back to break even if it succeeds. With the idea that it very well could run out the 30s. Not wild about the strong bearish reaction, but we did flip. This is not looking very pretty, but we'll see. My finger will be on the trigger, I think, anyways. Ideally, this sweep will continue and will carry us up a little bit further. We seem to be chopping around in here. Taking the sweep fail inside of a flip. She should lift now if she's going to, I think. Not really wild about this. And the reason I'm not wild about it is because we're attempting to push up and we're not. It's not that we're just going sideways, it's what we're attempting to do and what we're failing to do. So this is looking a little bit sus. We now have got some sustained bearish pressure. We'll see if it can generate anything. Otherwise, it might just sweep down into the underneath 200 and take us out. We'll see. Important candle here. Now that we've got sustained bearish pressure against our position. Gotta clear this, otherwise we're in major danger. If this is like a weak bullish push, then we're in a lot of trouble. So seriously considering mitigating depending on how violent this thrust is. Don't want this being a weak candle. $10. Come on, lads. Decent, but we need a push. We need a push. Got to push through these 10s now. Oh my God, you're a prick. Launch it. Launch it, launch it, launch it, launch it, launch it. Right? So flip. Probably good for at least 10 points. Strong possibility of us taking the 30s. I'm going to take 10 here because, again, I want to get back to a decent spot on the day. If this trades back down to break even, then I'll take it off. I want this to blast. Even though we're inside of a range, probably fair to let it ride out one way or the other. But 15s are important. That was an area that sent us down in the first place. Might have to settle for peanuts, unfortunately. That's going to be gross if it does. Hasn't touched the open of this, so still giving it a little bit of room to hold, which was one of the reasons earlier. If it trades back down to break even, then I'm out. Actually, I'm
Order
just going to take it
filled.
off here. I don't think there's any reason to be out necessarily. You're expecting this to hold. Just don't like how that closed bearish. This is why typically you avoid these 10 to 20 point ranges. You have to be perfectly spot on, right? Sure, like trade at 05 and then take it off at 15, you would have made your 10 points, but man. Was hoping for like a trade back in and gone, and expecting this to then run that high, not sort of chop around and make a decision here. In my opinion, if the decision was made, it was made here, and in which case we're doing this. Otherwise, this wasn't a decision making, and we're chopping around in here and figuring out who we're going to mess up first. So I don't really want to be a part of that. Right? We were only down like 3 points at one point, right? So it's not like this was a crazy adventure. And we very well could squeeze out. That's the danger of trading based off of confirmation inside of a range, right? Like this, by all accounts, is still strong. It failed underneath that low. Right? So we failed lower, we should go higher. We should. The edge is to go higher. Right? We flipped this low, we've taken the 15-minute low as well. So anything really in here, we should be able to hold for this, and then potentially even that. And that's probably fair. Right? And it's just nasty how that went. Literally, what? 3 ticks? 3 ticks from my idea? So pretty annoying PA, at least so far. And we've been in this range for the last hour or so. So we'll see what sets up for noon. Again, don't think I'd be short at all. I think that the short would have been from here, and essentially bears are hoping that the buying or the selling pressure ends up running. The problem with that is that you're looking for it to break a 15-minute low, which it just did. And all you found was strength. It did nothing. Right? So I don't typically like trading against that, where you've got this sort of PA from an imbalance. And, well, it's actually not an imbalance at all. It's just a 15-minute sweep. And you're trading into this candle. So we'll see. I think the midpoint as well of the current swing had to break something. It didn't quite do that yet, so. Time to make a decision. Bullish engulfing candle would be nice. It failed to close above it though, so, but we'll still see. I think we're going to avoid taking any trades in this chop, however. I took my idea and didn't really like how it's got follow through, so very well could be waiting for some sort of a time series, who knows. But yeah, wild. Red $100 per account right now. So full transparency and disclaimer for you guys. I'm kind of kicking myself still. I'll have to do some tapping at lunch or whatever about letting this long at 24 slipped me by. Should have just held that through and taken my loss or not, rather than fighting with a couple of trades in here. I ended up missing that long because it didn't sweep the 15-minute, so I was a little bit too picky on it. Yeah, it's just chop. Just chop, right? So again, the idea, just while we're lulled, rather than falling asleep, do a little bit of analysis. We've got these equal highs. We expect those to get ran out. If we close from here to here in the next 27 minutes, then we're expecting the PM session to run this low, with a 74% probability. Right? And how I think that would happen is that we should run this high out, which I was just positioned for, and probably should have just been holding through it. We'd be up 15, 20 points on that trade probably. And yeah, there hasn't been a lot, both yesterday and today. It's been violent action and then sort of lethargic, which hasn't really pulled back to anywhere that I really liked. Right? It certainly hasn't given us any sort of flips or anything to trade back into. Right? We're now ranging here and expanding. It looks like it's going to run that high out. We got these 30s. Nice hold, picks. Nice work, bro. $29.25. There's your 30 expansion. Okay. And again, the opposite idea is if we close up in here, then we're actually we've got a decent chance that that we run the morning high out. Yeah, I would call it too. If you're green, and this morning's been a little bit stressful for you, then that's the end of that. Right? I like that long a lot. Just holding through that range, not really anything I was wild about. We got the flip. I was bearish biased, so it was more of a scalp. Those of you guys that held to the target of those equal highs, beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Oh, 2275, 2275. Didn't quite make a valid high. I think the concern is that ES is failing. Again, I'm sort of looking at this. Like I want it to close down here so that we can run the lows of lunch. In fact, I think I might consider hopping in here, assuming this candle doesn't rocket up for that short. But we'll see. Yeah,
Order submitted.
Right, ES slowly.
Order submitted.
This has got to close underneath 2275 or else I'm gone straight away. Essentially, I'm looking at this being a liquidity sweep, and we should at least trade down, probably back down to 206. If this ends up being a loss, then that's my last trade of the day. We've got a valid high now. Yes, we've traded back down into this area of interest of consolidation, but I'm expecting the noon and PM session to continue bearish, which means we need to close underneath here. So this should be manipulation. And if I'm wrong, then this should not, like, well, it's just going to blast up. Let's put it that way, right? In which case, then I'm flat. This is an aggressive trade inside of here. Probably should be more positioned in the 20s.
Order canceled.
There it is. Okay. If this ends up failing from here, then I'm probably going to call it for the day. Just not liking how this is delivering at all. That was a pretty decent valid high. Yes, first one afterwards, it very well could continue on. ES is still struggling. I can't hop in again. The idea was the manipulation, and we got our push back into the range. So we'll see what goes on. Man, oh man. ES falling off of a cliff. Well, not falling off of a cliff. It's slightly pulling back. That's disgusting on NQ's part. Orders are speeding up. I like how they spiked higher. I probably should have had my stop above the high. I think it took me out by a couple of points a game. This PA this week is less than to be desired, of course, but I'll sit on my hands now. We'll wait and see what ends up happening. Right? Strong follow through. Okay. Can't take it again. Right, we didn't get any sort of sweep. We stabbed back up again. I don't know why it traded back up into there. We don't necessarily need to know why it traded back up into there. But had a very clear idea that did not pan out. We'll see what the sort of follow through is like. ES doing exactly what I wanted NQ to do. NQ just blipped up 14, 15 points. So we'll see what happens. Can't take it one way or the other. I do like from the bullish side of sweeping underneath here, but again, the thesis is that we're fighting over which half we're going to close in. And given how ES is moving and NQ, I'm very, very much leaning on the bearish side, but sitting on my hands now. Oh, waiting to see. There's our 15, there's our 5. Both are gross. Range is gross. Sideways price action, equally gross. ES still pushing lower inside of the flip area, fair enough. But this generated nothing, so in theory we should be looking at this 330 low. Feels like they're accumulating short here on NQ, but we're still failing underneath these bullish candles. People are looking at this range and looking at this as being a potential breakout, trading back in and seeing some sort of support. And I suppose that's fair, but just getting held up in the 20s. This chop is really, really gross. Okay, there's something at least.
Order submitted.
Again, we're looking at this being manipulation, so if we get a stab back up, maybe actually I want
Order
the 20s.
canceled.
I actually want the 20s. It very well could just dump from here, which would be disgusting. If it trades back up to this area, then I'm going to hit this short. Same sort of stop, 10 points. And that'll be a final trade of the day. But she's got to trade back up there. Or at least give us some sort of sideways idea where it doesn't want to trade higher. Right, this is the area responsible now. I'm expecting them to be loading in here. So we'll see if we get a step up. And that was the initial idea I wanted in the first place. But that was nasty how it ran higher. That wasn't it, was it? Man. Strong.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Potentially last trade of the day. If this doesn't hold and we just continue rocketing up, then we likely do this and we're going to take those AM highs. Otherwise, this lower time frame sweep was just to trade back into here and we're looking at an unwind. Should be a strong bearish candle. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to take this off. I don't want to close above this 24, obviously. This should be bearish. I don't want consecutive bullish candles after this. That's going to be dangerous. 3 seconds. inside candle, not ideal. Gotta go. If it's gonna go, she's gonna go. Otherwise, we're gonna get clapped. And it looks like clap it is. And I'm gonna walk. Nothing structural holding today.
Cancelled.
2 losses in a row. I think I ended up with about $500 in red. Yep. And yeah, I'm gonna walk for the day. Okay, just blasting through. Here we go. Probably a very decent long setup, I think. But I was leaning a lot more short for noon. We'll see what we end up getting. Right, everything is flipped. We've got the hourly flipped. Right, we got the 4 hour that flipped. All of our higher time frames are in our direction. Just could not get any sort of follow through or anything at all. So we'll see you guys later on, and I'll do a video on some of the losses and sort of the thoughts. And yeah, no real way of getting either I'm waiting for confirmation in here, and I took a location-based trade and just got clapped twice actually, or you avoid it, and we'll see what ends up happening here. But we'll see you guys later on. Bye 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 bye.